So normally when I go to the NAMM show, I trip over carpets. Interview guitar legends.
NSEX.
Practice, practice, practice.
You know, that's a huge burger.
Hang out with really cool people.
Check, check, baby, 1, 2, check, check, baby.
And generally have an awesome time.
Good morning and welcome to the NAMM show. Levels 2, 3, and Holly are now open. Have a great day.
What I haven't done in the past, however, is actually show you guys gear from the NAMM show, because I feel like there's so much of that out there that is done much better than I would care to do it. I just avoid that little vertical of content completely. But this year there were some really cool things, and this is not a paid video, this isn't a sponsored video or anything like that. I just thought I would share some of my personal gear highlights with you. So if you don't care about gear or what I think of gear, then come back tomorrow for a new video. But for those of you who do care and want a sort of different take on the traditional check out the cool things at NAMM video, then maybe this is for you. Some of the products I didn't actually get to test out, but I learned about. I'll let you know my first impressions here and there throughout this video. Also, some of them I really did get hands-on experience with, of which I will also let you know my first impressions. Timestamps are in the comments below if you'd like to skip around and see the different products in this video. Now, without further ado, let's get to the first booth. Universal Audio. I'm here at the Universal Audio booth before anyone's allowed inside. So I'm going to take you on a little tour. I actually think they make the best gear in the world when it comes to recording and other amplification needs, such as this. It's an aux box. Have you heard of it? Of course you have. When you think about aux box, it could mean anything. An aux box is a sort of load-bearing unit that takes the tubes in your regular amplifier and maintains that beautiful tubey tone, and yet allows you to dial in at a volume that doesn't blow your eardrums apart. So as you can see here, you can use the manual controls to select different rigs you may have saved and different types of room sounds and microphone settings, or you can use an app like this, and again, you can have presets that you save. Oh, a roomy tiny combo 5. Let's go to a young, lusty, dearthy rhythm. That is pretty young and lusty, and dearthy, and rhythmic. Did I mention it works with pedals as well? Go to a 112/50s twang to see if it can do any clean sorts of things. I feel like this one needs a little bit more context just to understand the aux box completely. It's an attenuator, so you can run the amp into the aux box and then into a cabinet and dial in the full tonal sweet spot of the amp, which usually comes by cranking it up. But have it at a decibel level that is manageable for your eardrums, so you don't have to turn your plexi up to 10 in order to get it to sound like a plexi on 10, for example. It also works as a load box, which is how I would use an aux box, so you could just go from the amp into the aux box and use a line out to go into an interface, and then you can record any amp you want without having to use a cabinet and mic up a cab, because the aux has cab emulation built into it. Wow, what a product. So any of these amps here, I could simply plug in, bypass a cab, I wouldn't need to mic anything up, and have one main hub, the aux box, to control and record them all. And I could do it all without the neighbors even knowing. I should also mention that none of the products in this booth are actually new for this year, but they are freaking sweet. The funny thing about Universal Audio is their name, because I would say that they are universally regarded as top of the line when it comes to recording equipment, and this is the Aero, a great example of that. I use an Apollo Twin that I'll show you in a moment, but this is really something that if you have a certain budget but you want a certain quality of sound, you go with this interface. I think really the secret to this is the complex simplicity, if you will. You have a couple channels. It's really about these preamps. The high Z input for guitar players will change your life. If nothing else, it looks really nice and clean, and it has a pretty green LED knob to indicate things to you. Isn't that nice? One thing I should mention about the Aero, and the thing that I think separates it from the Apollo Twin, which I'll get to next, it's much more portable. I think that's the main difference here between this unit and a higher end unit as far as the cost is concerned. Another huge unique innovation of the Aero is that it's bus powered by a Thunderbolt 3 connection, so you do not need a power cable or anything like that to power the Aero. For how powerful the Aero is as a recording device, that is a game changer. Another piece of the puzzle with these Universal Audio interfaces is the DSP built in, so you have a certain amount of capability for your computer, for example, in running different plugins, etc. Maybe that will slow older computers or lesser computers down. Well, Universal Audio takes that problem and eliminates it because they have their own DSP built into the unit, so you don't have to worry about lag or latency, things like that. You have enough power to power the awesome UA plugins. So this is the baby that I have in my studio. It's been the heartbeat of my sound for the past couple of years. It's essentially a bigger, bolder version of the Aero. It came first, but it's staying forever. One of the coolest things about these Apollo devices, aside from all the plugins that you would find in a studio, look at all these different guitar and bass combinations that you can have. We have Engels, we have Fenders, Friedmans, Fuchs, Marshall, Roland, and much, much more. Oh, there's Sirs, I didn't even know that. PT100, I know that guy, Pete Thorne. Don't you want to sound like Pete Thorne? Whoa, look at the Aero's huge. I don't know how I did that. Whoa. But seriously, if you want to sound awesome and have fun while you're recording things, I would recommend the UA stuff to anybody. The next booth we're going to stop by is the PRS booth, and we are featuring the McCarty 594 Hollowbody II, a brand new guitar from them this year. And this thing is awesome because I love the hollow body guitar and I love the 594, and as you would expect, this is a blend between those two models. And well, it just sounds delightful and feels great in your hands, and I'm going to be demonstrating that with my buddy Brian Ewald, an amazing guitar player who you should check out. Here's a couple different improvisations that Brian and I were kind of trading licks back and forth from a longer video that's going to come out later that is going to be great. But for now, let's just hear these beautiful McCarty 594 Hollowbody IIs.
594 Hollowbody II. And this is one also. There is a little bit of, there is a block under here. Okay. But I mean, it is still fully carved. I mean, if you look through, you can see, like if I stick my finger here, you can see it through the other, yeah.
That was rather delicious, wouldn't you say? So, moving on, we are stopping by the Ernie Ball booth, and this was the one product that I didn't actually get a chance to try, but it seems pretty straightforward in how I would use it. It's the Ernie Ball VP Jr., which is a volume pedal and a tuner in one, and it has this LED display that lights up and it gives you the chromatic tuner so you can see the different letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and you can see if you're sharp or flat as you would with a tuner, but you can also see where your volume level is at based on a certain LED display, so I think that's a really nifty feature. And just combining these two pedals seems sort of like, why hasn't anyone done this yet? And my friend from Ernie Ball named Derek was telling me about the construction of these pedals, and he's like, yeah, these things aren't gonna break on you. So that's always a good thing when it's something that you're stomping on. And although I'm not actually demonstrating the pedal, here it is in the background of me talking to John Petrucci. I don't think it's out yet, but it's definitely something that I am going to try and get my hands on once it is. A nice job of innovation with this pedal, if I do say so myself. Let's move along to the next booth, and it's the Fender booth, maybe one of the most notorious products to come out of NAMM this year, the Fender Acoustasonic. And this is a merger between a Telecaster and an acoustic guitar, I suppose. I did get my hands on this. I'll play you the audio I was able to capture. It wasn't the best scenario for filming. Bethany wasn't with me. She's normally the one who helps me with filming, but she was laying by the pool as I commanded her to do. I was like, do not come to NAMM on Sunday. It's gonna be so boring. Everyone's burnt out and dead. I'm gonna go run around, and I happened upon this guitar. So since the angle's not that great, I'm just gonna overlay some of the licks that I played to a beer that I was enjoying outside a fire somewhere in Anaheim. Keep in mind that this guitar blends between a very acoustic sound and a more acoustic electric mixed with clean, twangy Telecaster. My first impression of hearing about this guitar was, that's weird. I don't really like the way that looks. And then I played it, and it played great, and it sounded pretty cool. You could blend between the two sounds, as I mentioned, or just select one or the other. The interesting thing about it is it sort of played like an acoustic guitar, but it had the comfortable telly feel to it. So it was a hybrid experience of familiarity and slight discomfort, because I was trying to play really fast or bendy telly licks, but it wasn't really suited for that. With all that said, I think it's an awesome guitar. It's a little out of my price range for how much I would probably use it, but if you ever see one, definitely pick it up. You'll probably change your mind about how you feel about it. So there you go, guys. You thirsty now? Or do you just want to buy gear? Whatever you need, go do that for yourself. I am going to check in with you later, but I appreciate you watching this video. And until next time, keep shredding.